Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. War. If you're new to the channel, my name is Dr. War, and I make TASC Math videos to help anyone who is trying to pass their TASC examination in the subject area of mathematics. Now, I'm starting a new series called Math Shorts, where I'm going to be solving 1 to 2 problems. I'm trying to keep them short, 1 to 2 problems, showing you how to solve some of those high emphasis and medium emphasis topics. Today, we're going to start with solving linear equations. So I have 2 problems here that you may see on your TASC test. Now, the first one says the solution to 3 and then in parentheses x minus 8 plus 4x equals 8x plus 4 is. I always tell my students that when it comes to solving linear equations, you have to be proficient in adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing your integers because it's very important. Because if you look at your answer choices here, they have 2 numbers, which are 12 and 28, but notice that 1 and 2 are the positives and 3 and 4 are the negatives. So it's not like where some of my students, when they have different random numbers and they made a little error on their signs, they can kind of pick the closest. Here you cannot. You have to make sure that you are accurate in your computation. 3, and you have x minus 8 in parentheses plus 4x equals 8x plus 4. One of the things you'll notice is many of my students are adult learners, so I try to make solving these problems really non-traumatic and kind of simple. So my strategies are a little bit different than normal math teachers. What can I say? So when you're solving this linear equation, the first thing I notice I have parentheses, so we must eliminate those. And to do that, we're going to use the distribution property. So we're going to multiply everything in the parentheses by 3, which means it's just the x and the 8. That's it. I tell my students to draw arrows because sometimes they forget to multiply by the last term. 3 times x is 3x. Now, the 3 is positive, and here the subtraction sign is going to now become partners with the 8, so it's going to become a negative 8. A positive times a negative is a negative. And then when you multiply 3 times 8, you get 24. Then I'm going to bring down the plus 4x equals 8x plus 4. Now, when you're solving your linear equations, you usually have 2 terms equaling 1 term or 2 terms equaling 2 terms. Now, when I get here on the left-hand side, I kind of notice I have 1, 2, 3 terms. Now, whenever you have more than 2 terms, it means that you have some terms that you may be able to combine together. Who are similar? So notice I see the 3x. And then notice I see the 4x, and notice there's a plus sign, and notice I'm taking it with me. So you're going to combine, and combine means to add. So when you put the 3x and the 4x together, that gives you 7x. I'm going to bring down the minus 24 equals 8x plus 4. Now, when you get here, this is what I call, and most mathematicians do, variables on both sides. So you have a variable on the left and a variable on the right. For my students, to keep them on the path to getting the correct answer, our rule of thumb is always eliminate when you have 2 variables, one on the left and one on the right. We always say get rid of the one that is on the right. So we're going to eliminate the 8x. Now, because it's a positive 8x, to remove it, I'm going to minus 8x on both sides here, and notice I'm putting it on the 7 because they are like terms. So let's go back to our arithmetic. When the signs are different, because the 7 here is a positive, when the signs are different, we subtract. So when you subtract these numbers and you do them normally, you're like, oh, 8 minus 7 is a 1x. But who's the bigger number? The 8, so we're going to keep the negative sign. So that's negative 1x. Going to bring down the minus 24 equals, this is eliminated because again, when the signs are different, you subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. So that's eliminated. That's gone. And then I'm going to bring down the 4. Now, because it's a plus 4 and because it's positive, you don't need to put the plus sign. So we just write 4. Now here, this is nice for my students because we call this the two-step problem. Now, one of the problems I have with my students is when it get to the 2 steps, some of them always say, well, I don't know who to get rid of. So the first thing I do is we put a box around the variable. That is who we're solving for. When they see the box, the number that's next to it, we don't get rid of. You're going to get rid of the 24. So they know that when they put the box around the variable, don't get rid of who is in front of the box. So you need to get rid of the 24. It's a negative 24, so you're going to add 24 to both sides. You're going to bring down the negative 1x. This is eliminated, equals, this is nice over here, they're all positive. 4 plus 24 is 28. Now again, your variable must be positive. So you want a positive 1x, not a negative. So we're not finished. We need to get rid of this negative 1. The negative 1 and the x are connected by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. Now by dividing by negative 1, 2 negatives gives you a positive. 1 divided by 1 is 1, so that's actually your 1x equals, if you want to write the 1, that's fine. Now, a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 28 divided by 1 is 28. So your answer is negative 28. And there you go. So the first question was solving a linear equations with parentheses. My students usually are deadly afraid of this one, but if you take your time, you will get your answer. And remember, on the TASC test, you might have one of these, let's say in part 1 of the test and one in part 2. You're not going to have 20. I think that's the fear of my students, that they're going to see 20 of these and they don't have the time. No, you're just going to get one and you're good to go. Another type of linear equation that you may get is in a word problem. They look similar to this one. Again, these are high emphasis, and my students always go, oh really? They're high emphasis? And I was like, yeah. Like, this is a really simple problem, but it's high emphasis, meaning that you may see it, the high probability you're going to see it on your TASC test. So it says a study was conducted to determine the relationship between the age x, so your age is represented by x, in years. So that is important. All these commas, age, comma, x, comma, in years, comma. So age is x and it's in years of a certain brand of motorcycle and its value y in dollars. So again, notice the commas. Its value, comma, y, comma, in dollars. So the value of this motorcycle is represented by y, and y is in dollars. Now they give you the equation. It says the equation y equals negative 750x plus 8,500. Best models the data. And they said, based on the equation here, what is the estimated value of a motorcycle that is 5 years old? So now you have to ask yourself, where are you going to put that 5? Is it the x or the y? Now, 5 years old means that it's the age. And where do we see years? That's with the variable x. So wherever I see x, I'm going to replace it by the number 5 plus 8,500. And again, remember, what is the question asking you? Here's the question. You see that W. What is the estimated value? And remember, value was y. So we want to find out what is the value for y. Now, since these numbers are pretty big, well, they're not that big, but suppose this was on the calculator section, you can now get your calculator and let me move it over here. And all we're going to do is put in this right here. So we need a negative. This is your negative here. Don't use this. That's subtraction. So negative 750 open parentheses, put in the 5, close the parentheses. You're now going to add 8,500 and you hit enter. Your answer is 4,750. So 4,750. So your answer is B. Now, if this did not come on the calculator section, again, these numbers are pretty nice for arithmetic. A negative times a positive would give me a negative, and then I would go on the side and take 750 and times it by 5. That's 0, 25, carry the 2. That would give me 35 plus 2 is 37. So that would give me negative 3,750 that I now have to add to 8,500. And remember from your integers, when the signs are different, what do? We subtract. So I'm going to go set up my subtraction here. And it's like a normal subtraction. Big number first, small number second. And I'm going to subtract. That's 0. Can't take 5 from 0. So I'm going to borrow. 5 from 10 is 5. Okay, can't take 7 from 4, so I'm going to borrow. 7 from 14 is 7. 3 from 7 is 4. And notice I get the 4,750. And then remember, because the signs are different, we subtracted, but who's the bigger number? The 8,500. So your answer will be positive. I hope these little math shorts are helpful. I'm going to be trying to upload a math short every couple of days. And this is the first in the series. So I hope this has been helpful. If you are enjoying the content, please like, please subscribe, and please share. And also please comment for the algorithm. I know my subscribers have increased and I haven't been posting, but now that everything is opening back up, a lot of folks are scheduling their TASC tests, and I really want to be here to help you move forward in accomplishing your goal, obtaining your high school diploma, and passing that math test. Now, math is not your enemy. I know some people have been traumatized, but I'm not here to traumatize anyone. I'm just here to make this math a little bit easier so that when you go take your test, your heart is not pounding. You are confident and you can do it. Have a great day.